நம்முடைய தமிழ் மொழி உலகிலேயே மிகவும் தொன்மையான மொழி எந்த தேசத்திடம் இருக்கின்றதோ அந்த தேசத்திடம் பெருமிதம் பொங்க வேண்டுமா கூடாதா சொல்லுங்க.
செம்மொழி வலையொலி யூடியூப் சேனல். இந்த சேனலின் மூலமாக, அந்த வலையொலியின் மூலமாக பல்வேறு தகவல்களை தினந்தோறும் நாங்கள் வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த நிலையில் முழுமையாக கண்டு பார்க்கலாம்.
The title of this paper is Speaking to Siva, Thirumoolar, Manikkavasagar and Basavanna. The Bhakti movement had its heyday in the Tamil land from 650 AD to 950 AD, and from the 7th century onwards it spread from region to region, from language to language, engulfing the whole Indian subcontinent, quickening the religious impulse and leaving its lasting impression on the literature of Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi, Bengali, Assamese and Punjabi. In an exquisite poem in Padma Puranam, Bhakti is described as a woman who, born as a baby on the banks of Tamil Nadu, grew into womanhood in Maharashtra and the north, and became old in Gujarat. If within South India the passion of Bhakti united the saints of Tamil, Kannada and Telugu, the immortal Kabir, who wrote in Hindi, and the famed Chaitanya, who sang in Bengali, had only been inspired by southern saints. Bhakti, as it was felt, understood and preached by these great souls, was neither naive emotionalism nor sophisticated intellectual love for God or blind superstitious ritual-ridden worship, but a harmonious expression of cognition, conation and feeling. It is the intense universal love which primarily manifests itself in service for fellow human beings, in every one of whom the vision of God is revealed. The Bhakta is called Adiyan and Tondan, one who serves, and his life is one of total surrender to God, dedicated to the service of man. Basavanna told the world, Kayakave Kailasa, work is heaven. The Bhakti movement preached the ideal of a spiritual democracy of love and service. This is quite evident in Sundarar's catalogue of the 63 saints, in which his refrain is, I am their servant's servant, Adiyarkum Adiyen. Though he happened to be a Brahmin, and they were drawn from every social class, caste and creed and trade, touchable and untouchable, male and female, young and old, rich and poor, learned and ignorant, ascetic and worldly, royal, aristocratic and lowly. The stories of the 9 Mas, the chief disciples of Lord Siva, indicating that the meanest of the mean can rise to the greatest height of spiritual glory when they refuse even salvation and opt for a life of service to mankind, became popular in Karnataka. The Veerasaiva Kannada poet Harihara of the 12th century undertook a pilgrimage to the places of birth of these saints and came out with popular literary pieces called Ragala, describing their lives. This Veerasaivite tradition spread to the Telugu region also. The saint singers see God in all the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, in the sun and the moon, and in the soul of every living being. Their Lord combines in Himself the love and mercy of a mother with the power and knowledge of a father. Love for God takes the form of not only service to men, but adoration of the beauty of nature and love for all created beings, including birds and animals. Upper in one of his hymns says, I saw the male and female tuskers coming in pairs as before, but I see now what I have missed earlier. I see in all of them the sacred feet of the Lord. In one vachana, Basavanna expresses his anguish and astonishment over the cruel treatment of beasts. He says, they say, pour the milk, when they see snake image in a stone, but they cry, kill, when they meet a snake for real. Veerasaivism, through the vachanas, underscores the importance of a guru, the celebration of a community of saints, worship as a personal relationship, the rejection of both great and little traditions, especially caste barriers, the wandering nature of the saint, the use of a common stock of religious ideas and symbols in the spoken language of the region, and the use of certain esoteric systems. These are but the common characteristics of the pan-Indian bhakti tradition, with of course certain minor regional variations. Thirumoolar, the morning star that appeared before the dawn of the bhakti movement, anticipates many of these beliefs. His message is not even God is love, but love is God. He says, they that say love and Siva are two have no sense. None of them know that only love is Siva. When one knows that only love is Siva, one will attain the state of love as Siva. Rejecting the evil of caste system, he declares categorically, there is but one clan and only one God. Bemoaning the fact that the temple has become a static thing that has ignored its originals, the human beings, especially the Jangamas, that is, the religious men who, having renounced world and home, move from place to place as God incarnates. Basavanna observes, the rich will make temples for Shiva. What shall I, a poor man, do? My legs are pillars, the body the shrine, the head a cupola of gold. Listen, O Lord of the meeting rivers, things standing shall fall, but the moving ever shall stay. Thirumoolar says that any kind of worship in the temple that ignores the Lord's created beings is futile. If a thing is given to the Lord in the temple, it won't reach the Lord's men that are mobile temples. If a thing is given to the Lord's men that are mobile temples, it is certain to reach the Lord in the temple. The idea that the human body is itself the temple par excellence is emphasized by Basavanna. He says, make of my body the beam of a lute, of my head the sounding gourd, of my nerves the strings, of my fingers the plucking rods. Clutch me close and play your 32 songs, O Lord of the meeting rivers. In Thirumoolar, the body is a sacred thing that has to be nourished with care and concern. The mind is the sanctum sanctorum. The body made of flesh is the temple. To the merciful Lord, the mouth is the gate. To those that know, the soul is the Siva linga. The 5 treacherous senses are but bright lamps. Basavanna stresses the role of the Guru in one's life. Once the dark iron becomes gold, it won't become iron again. He that wins when he wants a Guru's blessings won't be born again. Thirumoolar's advice is that after getting a Guru, it is prudent to identify oneself totally with him. Wise to see the Guru's body, wise to utter his holy name, wise to hear his holy words, wise to think of his holy shape. The Kannada saints' vachanas are personal in several senses. They express the real conflicts of a real person. The poet doesn't wear a mask, doesn't make any attempt at impersonality, but gives expression to his joys and sorrows, hopes and fears, likes and dislikes, directly in the person of the poet himself, in his native dialect, using the language of personal conversation. His love for God is expressed in terms of personal relations, inasmuch as the Lord and the bard become lover and beloved, mother and child, father and son, master and servant. In the vachanas, the main concern is with the devotee's state and demands. Though ancient Tamil writings like the Sangam poems achieved almost to total objectivity, the hymns of the 4 Tamil acharyas associated with the Bhakti movement, Sambandar, Appar, Sundarar and Manikkavasagar, are personal in all the respects mentioned above. To Sambandar, God is a father, to Appar a master, to Sundarar a friend, and to Manikkavasagar a guru. Though there is understandably much that is common between Basavanna and some of the Tamil saint poets, he is closer to Manikkavasagar than to any other of the Saivite canons when it comes to moving personal appeals to Siva and to treatment of themes such as self-condemnation, the agony and futility of earthly life, the frailty and meanness of the human mind, the evil of hypocritical and pretentious devotion, the sublimity of bhakti of the highest order, and the glories of votaries of Saivism. Before they took up working for the cause of Saivism with missionary zeal, they had lived an active life as administrators close to the king himself, whose wrath they had to face in a world contaminated by power, money and downright treachery. Both had seen life at its best as well as at its worst. They could turn to a life of spirituality without any hankering for fame and attachment to riches or relatives. That Manikkavasagar himself was a follower of the principles of Veerasaivism before they crystallized into an identifiable religious doctrine has been attested by Tamil scholars like Maraimalai Adigal and Sivalinganaar. Veerasaivites adored Veerabhadra, the mythological hero who destroyed Daksha's sacrifice, to which he hadn't invited his son-in-law Lord Siva. Manikkavasagar sings Veerabhadra's glory and mentions the fateful sacrifice in 12 out of 20 stanzas in his Thirumoolar. There are also veiled references to his wearing and worship of Ishtalinga, to Padodaham, the water used to wash the feet of one's Guru, which the Veerasaivites considered sacred, and to the casket in which they would treasure their Sivalinga. Though there may be evidence enough to conclude that the Tamil saint poet had a soft corner for what later came to be known as Veerasaivism, there is no open recommendation of any sectarian ideas in Manikkavasagar's poems. The poetic utterances of both are eloquent accounts of all the stages of the spiritual journey they undertook, from the troubled anguish of the mind, the dark night of the soul, to the state of bliss experienced during the union with the Lord. While in a state of depression, expressing his profound grief over his inability to abjure physical pleasures, the Tamil poet Manikkavasagar welcomes death, declaring that he prefers it to such an agonizing condition. He says, "Taking me seriously, you showered your blessings on me, O Lord, but becoming proud, I started walking on my head. Why don't you allow me to die? My heart is as hard as the notches of parai wood. My eyes seem to be made of wood. My ears are harder than iron. I haven't cut my body into pieces. I haven't jumped into a pit of fire. I don't know how to seek your grace. You can't own this body any longer. I don't know where to go. I am away from you, but alas, I have not yet perished." Basavanna's expression of his intensely felt agonies in a similar state is equally heartrending. He says, "Lord, this world has caught me in its snare. Save me, oh save me, Lord. All worth is gone. Your mercy, Lord, your mercy, Kudala Sangama." In a mournful tone, Basavanna adds, "The Rahu of this world has swallowed me, and I am in a total eclipse." Such states at times drive them to what is known as glorious blasphemy. It is Sundarar who deserves the greatest honor as the laureate of profound blasphemy. He doesn't mind threatening the Lord with dire consequences if any harm is done to him. He says, "Thinking that you would pardon me, I committed sins, but you have blinded my eyes without caring for the blame you have to bear. Whenever your grief-stricken devotees, determined to be your slaves and not anyone else's, spoke of their miseries to you, you didn't do anything for them, but kept quiet. May you live long. Why did you take away my eyes? For this the blame is on you only. If you don't give me the right eye also, do you think you will live long? If it is possible, may you do so." But the sacred profanities of Manikkavasagar and Basavanna are not so outrageous. The former, Manikkavasagar, in one of his poems, gently reminds the Lord that after all, he is the author of all that happens here, the ultimate animator of all human activities. "You may do good, you may do wrong. Am I the architect of all these? Nandre seivai, pizhai seivai, nano idharkku nayagame." Basavanna is equally polite and reverential but doesn't spare the Lord. He says, Thine are my weal and woe, my loss and gain are thine, then too my honor and shame. O Lord Kudala Sangama, how can the creeper feel the weight of its own fruit? But at times there may be sad and indignant outbursts too. Siva, you have no mercy. Siva, you have no heart. Why did you bring me to birth? Wretch in this world, exiled from the other. Tell me, Lord, don't you have one more little tree or plant made just for me? Whatever grievances they may have against Siva, to the Tamil Saivite saint poets, he is the only supreme deity, and all the other gods of the Hindu pantheon, including Vishnu and Brahma, are no match for him and cannot measure up to the expectations of the bhaktas. Mythology comes to Manikkavasagar's rescue whenever he wants to denigrate the other deities in terms that are at times in rather poor taste. He considers it his duty to warn people against being misled by false gods. In this world that prattles about false gods, claiming this god is great, that god is great, you king of beetles, go and blow the trumpet to the true God of gods, whom I hold in my grip, so that my fetters of birth may break.